the sea god's fate matchmaking event, Huo Yuhao radiated brilliance. He was chosen by 4 female students, including Tang Wutong. However, Huo Yuhao announced that he would not choose anyone, declaring that his heart belonged only to Wang Dong'er. Stating that he was only attending the event as a formality, he excused himself so as not to delay the rest of the ceremony. He nodded to 2 senior female students and turned to leave. Just then, 3 voices rang out simultaneously, halting him in his tracks. The voices belonged to Bai Se, Tong, and Tang Wutong. Bai Se spoke urgently, noting that Huo Yuhao was usually impossible to find. If they missed this chance, there would be no telling when they could spar with him. Tong echoed the sentiment, demanding that even if he didn't choose them, he had to fight them before leaving. She wanted to test the gap between her ultimate ice martial soul and his, intending to prove her superiority in front of everyone. Tang Wutong alone remained silent after her initial call. Repeatedly blocked from leaving, Huo Yuhao frowned. The matchmaking event had already stirred up agonizing memories of his missing love. His heart was a churning sea of pain, and he only wanted to find a quiet place to calm his emotions. But with the others pressing him relentlessly, his expression turned icy. He told Bai Se and Tong that if they insisted on a spar, there was no need for a formal match. He would demonstrate 2 moves on the spot. If they could replicate them, he would willingly concede defeat. Huo Yuhao stepped off the water lily leaf and stood firmly on the surface of the lake. A 2-meter-wide sheet of solid ice instantly condensed beneath his feet to support him. With another step, he levitated into thin air. Spirit rings rose slowly from beneath his feet, white, black, gold, and red. He displayed a full 7 rings without any concealment, yet the aura he exuded far surpassed the limits of a 7-ring spirit sage, reaching the terrifying realm of an 8-ring spirit Donghua. The inner courtyard students watched in absolute shock. Without a word of explanation, Huo Yuhao punched the sky. This single strike was wrapped in such intense yearning that it plucked at the heartstrings of everyone present. Opposite him, Bai Se turned deathly pale. She understood the sheer devastation of this attack. Even if she were a spirit sage like him, she wouldn't be able to withstand it. The majority of the students couldn't fathom how a spirit sage could unleash such terrifying power. Only a few experienced teachers and students guessed the truth. This was a pinnacle self-created spirit skill. Huo Yuhao had fused his martial soul, spirit power, mental power, and his profound longing for his beloved to create this move, the fist of yearning for Dong. Huo Yuhao withdrew the sorrow from his eyes, looked at Bai Se, and asked if she still wished to challenge him. Smiling bitterly, she shook her head, admitting that the gap was too vast and she had lost the courage to fight. She loudly announced her withdrawal from the event and flew back toward the shore. Huo Yuhao then turned his gaze to the veiled Tong. His 7 rings slowly faded. Tong spoke first, her voice lacking its usual confidence, stating that she didn't want to see a self-created skill. Huo Yuhao nodded, promising she would be satisfied. Once again, rings rose from his body, but this time they plunged the entire crowd into absolute disbelief. His first ring was the red color of a 100,000-year spirit beast. It was followed by 4 unprecedented orange rings and 3 more red rings. 8 rings in total, 4 red, 4 orange. No one had ever seen orange spirit rings before, and they stared at him as if he were a monster. Suddenly, a brilliant jade-green light radiated from him. The 8 rings floated quietly around him. Centered on his body, the water of Sea God Lake began to freeze at an astonishing speed. In mere moments, the ice spread beneath the feet of all the students, freezing the entire lake solid. Temperature plummeted. He hadn't used a single spirit skill. He had frozen the lake using his aura alone. On the great ship, even Elder Xian was deeply moved, shocked that Huo Yuhao had broken through to 8 rings and acquired 100,000-year spirit rings. Huo Yuhao looked calmly at Tong. If you can unfreeze the lake water, you win. As fellow ice control spirit masters, we are competing in temperature manipulation. It's a fair fight. Tong nodded silently but didn't speak a word. She turned and flew away. Everyone understood. What Huo Yuhao had done effortlessly was completely beyond her capabilities. Having resolved the two challenges, Huo Yuhao nodded to the crowd and prepared to leave once more. But again a voice stopped him. Blocked for a third time, Huo Yuhao's annoyance flared into anger. However, the moment he realized it was Tang Wutong who had called out, his anger vanished. Even if she wasn't Wang Dong'er, she wore the exact same face. He simply couldn't bring himself to be mad at her. Tang Wutong's eyes were resolute. She pointed out that he had shown his strength to the other two, so what about her? Frowning, Huo Yuhao asked if she wanted to challenge him as well. She countered, asking why not since the rules allowed it. With a sigh, Huo Yuhao admitted he had no desire or mood to fight her, nor did he want to hurt her. But Tang Wutong refused to back down. Left with no choice, Huo Yuhao coldly asked how she wanted to battle. Originally, Tang Wutong did not challenge him here, only using her spirit power to probe him. However, this full-force challenge was fundamentally a test. The moment she chose him at the event, her father, the divine King Tang San, had secretly descended. Tang San asked her if she was certain Huo Yuhao was the one who could protect her for a lifetime, and questioned if he possessed the absolute strength worthy of a divine king's daughter. To prove Huo Yuhao's capabilities to her father and validate her own heart, Tang Wutong decided to go all out. During their clash, a massive, terrifying black shadow of the clear sky hammer materialized in midair. It was Tang Wutong's martial soul. Seeing that incredibly familiar hammer, Huo Yuhao instantly knew the answer. To completely verify his realization, the two simultaneously channeled their spirit power, initiating the martial soul fusion unique to them. Suddenly, a pair of massive golden wings spread from Tang Wutong's back, and 8 rings rose from beneath her feet, 6 10,000-year and 200,000-year rings. She too was an 8-ring spirit Donghua. A golden trident mark lit up on her forehead, radiating intensely. The golden light mist flowing from her wings was continuously absorbed by the trident mark. Huo Yuhao clearly felt the spirit power she was injecting into him undergoing a drastic change. The distant, aloof rejection faded, replaced by an overwhelming, familiar intimacy. Their powers began to merge slowly but firmly. He watched in awe as the dragon scales on her wings faded, the gold shifting to a brilliant blue. It wasn't the radiant dragon god butterfly. It was the radiant butterfly goddess, the very soul etched into his bones. And the power merging with his was none other than their unique halting power. Huo Yuhao's heart trembled violently. He instinctively grabbed her hands, tears flowing uncontrollably. As the last wisp of golden mist was absorbed by the trident mark, Tang Wutong looked at him, her eyes brimming with love and longing. She smiled and softly called him idiot. That familiar, affectionate insult broke Huo Yuhao completely. His throat choked with sobs, rendering him speechless. Surging spirit power poured from Tang Wutong's hands, perfectly blending with his. Held in a tight embrace, their spirit rings erupted in dazzling light. Huo Yuhao transformed into the Eye of Azura, and Tang Wutong into the radiant butterfly goddess. Together they unleashed their legendary fusion skills, the withering amidst brilliance, golden road, the blazing in the freezing, hammer of the celestial emperor, and the mantra in the void, spiritual storm. Finally, the two figures fused completely, and the solo dance in the frost, goddess of light, slowly materialized in the air. On the shore, Bai Se and the others were already in tears. They had known Tang Wutong was attending the event but kept it a secret to surprise him. Seeing the goddess of light, they knew without a doubt that their comrade Dong'er had truly returned. Because it was formed by 2 spirit Donghua, this goddess of light possessed the strength of a titled Donghua, leaving even super Donghua like Yan Shaoxia deeply moved. When the fusion ended, the two reappeared on the ice. Huo Yuhao pulled Tang Wutong into a crushing embrace, crying like a child. Without Dong'er, his world had been entirely gray, now its colors had returned. Holding her tight, Huo Yuhao transformed into a streak of golden light and flew them to the quiet platform where they used to train. Even after landing, he refused to let go, terrified she would vanish again. Through a long time, Tang Wutong gently pushed him back and asked for a little time. Huo Yuhao was stunned. Haven't you recovered your memory? He asked. Tang Wutong shook her head. She explained that she was Tang Wutong, not Wang Dong'er. Dong'er had only been an alias. She had recovered the memories of being Wang Dong'er. She pulled him down to sit and recounted her recent experiences. When Huo Yuhao had stabbed himself multiple times to save her from Long Xiaoyao, the sheer trauma of watching him mutilate himself caused a seal in her mind to break. Countless memory fragments flooded in and she fainted. After bringing him back to the Tang sect, she went into seclusion to sort through the chaos in her mind. She realized she was indeed Wang Dong'er, but her mind now contained the memories of Dong'er, her childhood as Tang Wutong, the fragments of Wang Qi, and the time she and Huo Yuhao spent apart. The conflicting memories left her confused and fearful that he wouldn't accept this impure version of herself. She needed time to process it all, but her fear of missing the matchmaking event drove her to take a leap of faith today. Hearing this, Huo Yuhao's heart swelled with tenderness. He pulled her back into his arms, telling her that from the moment their halting power fused again, she was his sole, lifelong love. Whether she was Wang Dong'er or Tang Wutong, he accepted all of her. Names and memory fragments didn't matter. He had a lifetime to wait for her to find her complete self. This time, he would never let her leave his side. Tang Wutong leaned against his chest, tears falling freely as her anxieties finally dissolved. She then warned him that they still had one major hurdle to cross, her father's test. As his only daughter, her father had promised that any prospective son-in-law would face the most grueling of trials. Huo Yuhao agreed without a second thought, declaring he would face any hardship to prove his devotion to her. Tang Wutong opened her mouth to say more, but the trident mark on her forehead suddenly flashed. She swallowed the rest of her words, her cheeks flushing red as she gently touched her forehead, looking very much as if she were secretly bickering with an unseen presence.